in degrees. So this time all answers are going to be in radians. I highly recommend that you have a unit circle out so you can reference that. There'll be 3 questions on the test from this section. Then for law of sines and cosines, we're going to have 4 questions. So this is the quiz that you just took, 8182 quiz. And again, I just released the solution so you could see what answer you put and what the correct answer was if you got it wrong. And then this is the section that we just covered, and there'll be 3 questions. You will have one with 3 variables, okay? And then you're gonna have 2 questions with 2 variables. One of them is going to be a fraction. So make sure that you understand how to work those. Those were actually number 29, which is what I'm gonna work out. And then I can also give you another one if we have time, and I'll give you another example of it. So the test is 10 questions. Everyone did a great job on getting here right on time. My advice to you is get here right on time on Wednesday because you're going to need 50 minutes to take this test. So just know that if we started a few minutes late, you'll probably go a little bit into your break. Any questions before I work those 3 questions out about the content here?
Miss Corey, for
Yes.
the test,
Yes.
you have to do the Zoom through the phone.
Yes. So you're still going to do the same thing. You're going to have your camera positioned on you either through your phone, another device, and then take the test on your iPad. You have to show work again, and you're going to upload it to the work to a homework assignment. Now, 10 questions is a lot, so you need to have practiced this and be able to work rapidly. Otherwise, you may find that you run out of time. So just make sure you're working rapidly. 10 questions. Again, it's a Canvas quiz. So let me work out those 3 questions. So the first...
also do 25?
Yes. All right, let me do that one first. I'll do them in order. Okay, so this is 9-1, and this is number 25 first. So 25 has 6x plus 7y plus 2 equals 0. And then the other equation is 7x minus 6y minus 26 equals 0. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put it into standard form. So for the first one, I'm going to move the 2 over. And for this one, I'm going to add the 26. So for the first one, I get 6x plus 7y equals negative 2. And then over here, 7x minus 6y equals 26. Now, my goal here is to get either the x's or the y's to have the same number but opposite signs. Now, notice my y's already have opposite signs. So really what I'm trying to do here is find a least common multiple between 6 and 7. So my least common multiple is going to be 42. So I'm going to multiply this equation by a 6 and this equation by a 7. So once I do that, the new red one becomes 36x. The new, so then I have to distribute it to everything. Don't forget about the answer. That's a common mistake. People forget to distribute it to that answer over there, that C term. And then the blue one becomes 49x minus 42y, and then 7 times 26 gives me 182. And you can use your calculator for the entire test. So not just for the law of sines and cosines. So when I go to add these two, I get 85x. This cancels. And then I'm left with 82 plus negative 12 and it's 170. I'm going to divide both sides by 85, and x equals positive 2. I now need to plug x equals 2 into one of the beginning ones. Now, I could also plug it in to one of my rearranged ones. So let me just go ahead and take this first one, and I'm going to use the rearranged one. So I'm going to use the 6x plus 7y equals negative 2. Plug in a 2 for x. 12 plus 7y equals negative 2. Move the 12. Oops, this should be not a 12. This is a... Oops. This is just a negative 2. And this is a negative 12 here. 7y equals negative 14. Divide by 7, and y equals negative 2. So the solution is this order pair, positive 2, negative 2. Remember, the solution to a system when it's two unknowns is an order pair. Unless the lines are parallel, then there's no solution, or unless it turns into exactly the same equation, then it's going to be infinitely many. Let me try 29. 29 was the fraction. I highly recommend you pay attention to this because you will have a fraction on the test. So for number 29, we're going to do 2x minus 1 over 3 plus y plus 2 over 4 equals 4. And then the second equation is x plus 3 over 2 minus x minus y over 3 equals 3. All right, so my advice to you is clear the fraction first. So what I'm going to do is my first equation up here, I'm going to clear the fraction by distributing the common denominator of 12 to all three pieces. So my new red becomes, when I distribute it here to the first one, this becomes a 4 that I distribute. Then when I go here, this becomes times 3. Nothing to simplify here, so this whole thing gets multiplied by the 12. So now the new red one becomes 8x minus 4 plus 3y plus 6 equals 48. I now need to combine some like terms. And these are like terms here. I get 8x plus 3y plus 2 equals 48. Move the 2. And now I'm done getting rid of the fraction of the first one. Now I'm going to do the blue one. I'm going to distribute on this one a common denominator of 6. So when I go to the first one, this I'm going to distribute the 3 because 2 goes into 6 3 times. Then over here I'm going to distribute a negative 2, and then here gets the whole 6. So let me go ahead and do that over here. So this becomes 3 times x plus 3, negative 2 x minus y, and then 3 times 6. So 3x plus 9 minus 2x plus 2y equals 18. I'm going to combine, actually no, I'm going to combine my x's. And this gives me x plus 2y plus 9 equals 18. Move the 9. X plus 2y equals 9. Now I have two equations that I'm going to do some kind of method to solve. I'm either going to use elimination or substitution. I think I'm going to do elimination and I'm going to multiply this equation by negative 8 so I can eliminate the x. Now, I could have also multiplied and eliminated the y, but I would have to multiply both equations. Now, I could also do substitution. I could solve this equation for x and then substitute. It's up to you. So if I take my red one, 8x plus 3y equals 46. I'm going to take the blue one and distribute the negative 8. And now I can add the two equations. This one cancels. I'm left with negative 13y. And then 46 plus negative 72 gives me negative 26. Divide by negative 13 and y equals 2. Now, again, remember, your solution is an ordered pair. So let me go ahead now, and I don't have to put this into the original fraction ones. I could plug it in right here to one of my manipulated ones. So x plus 2y equals 9. 2 times 2 equals 9. X plus 4 equals 9. Subtract the 4, and x equals 5. So my solution is an ordered pair. It's the ordered pair 5, 2. My advice to you is make sure that you're showing your work nice and neatly, because I guarantee you more than likely one of the answers is going to be this. And if you put the y first, you're going to get it wrong. Okay? So that's the common mistake. When I used to teach this to Algebra 1 students, is people were messy and they didn't show their work neatly. And what ended up happening was they would switch the order pair and they would put the y first. So it's not what you solve for first. Remember, a coordinate or an order pair is always written as x, y. So be very careful when you're writing down your answers. That's another common mistake I saw on the quiz, is when people were solving the triangle. Let's say your triangle gave you A, B, C. Let's say this was 45 and this one was 25, and then you were trying to find B, and then they gave you maybe A was something and C. Let's say you finally found out, let's just say it's all right. Let's fix this. Let's make this 45. Let's just say this was 3, this was 3, and this is going to be, just to make sure it makes sense. So let's say the answer should have been A equals 3, C equals 3 root 2. That would have been the correct answer, but what some people did was they said A was 3 root 2 and C was 3. So make sure that whatever you get, that you're picking that answer. That's the problem with multiple choice, that if you don't look at little details and find the correct one, you're going to get it wrong. So I know you're trying to race against the clock, but you also have to pay attention to little details. All right, let me do number 49. 49 has 3 unknowns, and you will have one of these. So this is number 49. So we have x plus 3y plus 4z equals 14, and then 2x minus 3y plus 2z equals 10, 3x minus y plus z equals 9. Now, keep in mind when you are doing your examples, and if you're checking your answers with mine, you might have picked a different pivot row, and you might have picked a different variable to eliminate. So yours might be a little bit different than what I've posted, as long as you end up with the same ordered triple, it doesn't matter. Now, be very careful when you're working with the letter Z, okay? A lot of times students think it's a 2, so make sure you're writing neatly. All right, so I think what I'm going to do here is I'm going to choose row 1 as my pivot, and I am going to eliminate Y. Now you could have chosen a different variable. So this will be my pivot. So I'm going to add 1 to the 2 and 1 to the 3. Now, in order to eliminate Y though, when I add 1, 2, 3, when I add row 1 to row 3, I also have to multiply row 3 by 3 to get it to eliminate. So let me go ahead and work on 1 and 2 together. So 1 is 3x plus 4z equals 14. And here's row 2. I'm going to add them. When I add them, the y's cancel out. And then now I'm going to distribute a 3 to row 3. So that way when I add it with row 1, the y will cancel. So here's row 1. And now I'm going to distribute the 3 to row 3. So I get 9x minus 3y plus 3z equals 27. I can add, my y's cancel. All right, now, this is like the other examples. I have 2 unknowns. And now what I need to do is either do a substitution or elimination. Substitution would be kind of challenging here. You'd end up with a fraction, so I'm going to do elimination. And again, it doesn't matter which variable you eliminate first. I'm going to try to eliminate x. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this equation by 10 and this equation by negative 3. So I'm trying to make the x's have a 30 and a negative 30. So this becomes, this equation here, I'll do it first, becomes 30x plus 60z equals 240. Then I'm going to distribute the green, negative 30x, negative 21z, and then negative 123. Now I can add the 2 equations. The x term cancels. I'm solving for z. So 60 plus negative 21, or 60 minus 21, is 39z. And then 240 minus 123 is 117. Divide by 39. And I get z equals 3. Now, I'm going to take it one step up. I don't go to the original yet. So what I'm going to do is go back up one step to either here or here and plug in z to either the black or the blue equation there. Doesn't matter which. Let me go with the black one. The numbers look a little smaller. Actually, the other one has a 10, but it doesn't matter. You get the same answer either way. So 3x plus 6 times 3 equals 24. 3x plus 18 equals 24. Move the 18. 24 minus 18 is 6. 3 goes into 6 twice. Now I've got 2 of my variables. I now need to go back to the very beginning and plug both of these in to one of them. I'm going to plug it into the first one. So I'm going to rewrite that first one. It's x plus 3y plus 4z equals 14. I'm going to plug in x. It's 2. Don't know y. Z is 3. I'm going to multiply. I'm going to combine my like terms. I'm going to move the 14. 3y equals 0. Divide, and y equals 0. 0 is a valid answer. So my answer here, again, it's written as x, y, z, ABC order. So it's going to be 2, 0, and 3. So keep in mind, your graphs can all hit, at 0. So that's fine. So this ordered triple is 2, 0, and 3. Any other ones you want to see worked out from the homework from 9-1?
53 and 55.
53 and 55, okay? All right, so for 53, this one is x minus 3y minus 2z equals -3, and 3x plus 2y minus z equals 12, and -x, -y plus 4z equals 3. Okay, so now again, you could have maybe chosen to do yours differently. I am going to use row 1. Let's see. I'm going to have row 1 as my pivot again. So again, I can label them 1, 2, 3, and I am going to eliminate x. All right, so I need to add 1 and 2 and 1 and 3. Now, when I go to add 1 and 2, I need to multiply row 1 by -3 in order to get the x to eliminate. So row 1, when I distribute a -3, becomes -3x plus 9y plus 6z equals 9. I'm going to write row 2 underneath it. I'm going to add the two equations. X cancels. I'm left with 11y plus 5z equals 21. Now I'm going to add 1 and 3. So x minus 3y minus 2z equals -3. -x minus y plus 4z equals 3. The x's cancel. I'm now left with -4y plus 2z equals 0. I now have two equations with two unknowns. So now what I need to do is decide what I want to eliminate. I think I'm going to eliminate, I guess it doesn't really matter. Let me eliminate y, even though it might get kind of big. So I'm going to multiply this by 4 and this equation by 11. So I'm trying to eliminate y. So this becomes 44y. I could have also tried to eliminate z, and I would have had to make them both 10 and negative 10. So then this becomes 20z, and this becomes 84. Then the blue one, negative 44y plus 22z equals 0. I'm going to add these, and I get 42z equals 84. And then I'm going to divide by 42, and z equals 2. Now I got to go back and plug this in to one of these. It doesn't matter which. Let me just do the first one. 11y plus 5z. Actually, it'll be easier on the other one. It's got a 0 there. Let's do that one. Let me do the negative 4y. Again, it doesn't matter. Whatever one you think is easier. So negative 4y plus 2 times 2 equals 0. Negative 4y plus 4 equals 0. Move the 4. Negative 4y equals negative 4. Divide by negative 4, and y equals positive 1. I now take this and go back to the beginning with both and pick one to plug it into. Doesn't matter which. So let me go ahead. I'll just do the first one. So x minus 3y minus 2z equals negative 3. So my x was, I don't know. My y is 1. My z is 2. And x minus 3 minus 4 equals negative 3. X minus 7 equals negative 3. Add the 7, and x equals 4. So my ordered triple is 4, 1, 2. That was 53. Let's try
Miss Corey,
Yes.
if you were to start like from the very beginning and instead of doing x, you start with z, could you still get the same answer?
Yes. So that's why when I posted the review answers, it just says possible solution, because you could have picked a different pivot row and a different variable to eliminate from the beginning. Absolutely. But all answers are going to end up with this. Each technique that you choose will end up with the same order triple.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's try 55. And if you want, I can go back and rework that one and eliminate a different variable first. Let's see how this one goes. So 2x plus 6y minus z equals 6. 4x minus 3y plus 5z equals negative 5. 6x plus 9y minus 2z equals 11. Okay, so anybody have a suggestion on which row you want to make pivot and which letter you want to eliminate? No suggestions? Anybody try it and it didn't work and you want me to try to help you through it? No? All right, I'll pick one then. Okay, so let's see. Again, when I try to pick my pivot row, I'm trying to do something that it's going to involve the least amount of work, where maybe I don't have to multiply so many things. So I'm going to choose as my pivot row, I'm going to choose row 2, and I'm going to eliminate y. So when I do this, I have to add 1 plus 2, and then 2 plus 3. Whatever the pivot row is, you've got to add that to the other two. Now, to eliminate y, I need to multiply my pivot row by a 2. And then for here to eliminate, I'm going to multiply my pivot row by 3. So let's go ahead and try this. So I'm going to rewrite row 1. And now I'm going to multiply row 2 by a 2 so I can get y to be a negative 6. So this gives me 8x minus 6y plus 10z equals negative 10. Now let me do this one in blue. And again, I'm multiplying my pivot row by 3. So let me go ahead and do that. My pivot row becomes 12x minus 9y plus 15z equals negative 15. Let me write row 3 below it. Now I can add them. So let's see. So this one I'll write the answer in red. So 10x, this is gone, plus 8z equals negative 4. And this one, 18x, this is gone, plus 13z equals negative 4. All right, so now I need to get either x or y to have the same number. So let's try to do z. So I'm going to multiply this equation by 13 and this equation by negative 8. So the red one becomes 130x, 13 times 8 is 104. And then 13 times negative 4 is negative 52. Now let me do the blue one. 18 times 8 gives me negative 144. And then this gives me negative 104. And then this gives me positive 32. And 130 minus 144. And I get negative 14x. This is gone. And then this gives me negative 20. Is this one a fraction? Yep. Okay. So negative 14. X equals 20 over 14. I can reduce this. Let's trace this. Let's see what happened here. Anybody catch my mistake? Let's go up here. So right here, there should have been a 9. And then 13 times 9 is 117. So then this is going to be multiplied. So let's fix all this. All right, so 130x, 13 times 9 is 117. And then 13 times 4 is the negative 52. And now I'm going to distribute 9 times 18. And I get 162. It's negative. And then here, 117. And then this is 36. Let's see if this works better. 162 minus 130 is negative 32x. And this is 16. Divide. And now we get x equals 1/2. So now I need to take that x and I need to plug it in to one of these. So let's do the 10x plus 9z equals -4. Again, it doesn't matter. So 10 times a half. Half of 10 is 5. Move the 5. 9z equals -9. Divide by +9 is equals -1. I now need to take the positive half and the -1 and go back to the beginning with both of them and plug it into one of them. Let me go ahead and just use the first one. So the first one was 2x plus 6y minus z equals 6. So my x, 2 times 1/2 plus 6y. This, when I plug in this -1, it's negative. So this will become positive. So this is, when I multiply this is 1. This becomes 1. I'm going to add these two. I'm going to move the 2. Divide by 6. And y equals 4/6 or 2/3. So my ordered triple is 1/2, 2/3, and -1. Now, I know you're gonna be stressed with time, but what I recommend you do is when you're going through the test, if that first variable you solve for is not listed in any of the answers, you might want to stop and go back and check. Be very careful, because notice this little simple mistake I made of -1 plus 10. It's not 8, it's 9. One little careless mistake and it messes everything up. So you have to be very, very careful. Take your time. Remember that once you get an ordered triple, you could always take it and you can plug it into all three. It has to work for all three. As soon as it fails for one, you know you've done something wrong. Any other questions you need to see worked out? Okay, so you actually have, this afternoon and tomorrow's afternoon to go through the homework again. Go through the review. You already have the review answers. Now, remember, I may have solved the questions with a different pivot row or eliminate something different. However, there's only one answer. So it doesn't matter how you choose to solve these, your answer should still be the same as what I have listed. So again, for the test, you can have the formulas written down. You can have a unit circle ready to go. Now, my advice to you is be organized. Don't try to be searching through all your Notability files. You need to either have something in a Notability file that with everything right there, or maybe even have it printed out and written down so you have quick reference to this stuff. Again, we're pulling questions from a very large bank. So the chances of you getting the same question as someone else is going to probably be slim. So just be careful. And again, when you choose your answers, make sure you're picking the correct order of things, especially for this system of equations. Remember, you need to list X first, then Y if it's 2 unknowns, or if it's 3, alphabetical order, X, Y, Z. So just be very careful. So you'll have 2 unknowns, 3 unknowns. You'll also have a fraction. And then you're going to have 3 trig equations. And then 4 from 8-1 and 8-2. So solving the triangles. Any questions? All right. So that's all I have for you today. Again, remember, email me if you're struggling. Send me a screenshot of the problem you're stuck on. Maybe you're solving it and you just can't figure out where you've gone wrong. Somebody did that for me over the weekend. It was just a matter that they didn't copy the problem down correctly. So that's another common mistake. So just make sure you're writing neatly, that you're copying everything perfectly. And that is it. That's all I have for you today. Any other questions? All right, so study. Make sure you're on time on Wednesday. You're probably going to get the whole 50 minutes. So depending on how fast everybody gets in, we may start a few minutes after 8 o'clock. So make sure I'll start opening up the meeting probably around 7:55. So hopefully I can get everybody in by 8 o'clock and then we can start right away. So you don't have to go too far into your break. So if for some reason you miss the meeting, if you oversleep, you'll have to do a one-on-one Zoom with me to take your test. So just make sure you wake up on time and you're ready for this test. And that's it. Everybody good? All right. So I will see you guys on Wednesday. Have a good 2 days. Study. If you have questions, let me know. That's it.